Hello chess fans and welcome to Chess 5, and today I'm going to show you the game between Adhiban Baskaran versus Anish Giri, and this game is from the Goldmoney Asian Rapid Prelims 2021, and as we know that today is Anish Giri's birthday, so happy birthday to Anish, and we can take this game as a gift from Adhiban to Anish Giri. So till now we can say Adhiban's game in the Goldmoney Asian Rapid Prelims 2021 was not going right in his way. He scored way less points, and I think he was very discouraged by himself. So let's see, will his discouragement affect on his game? So let's see. So Adhiban Baskaran with the white pieces and Anish Giri with the black pieces. Currently Adhiban is in the 4th position according to India, and he's one of the best players in the India, and he is a grandmaster, and Anish Giri is well known player, top class player, and today is his birthday, so happy birthday. So let's start the game. So Adhiban is white and Anish Giri is black. So Adhiban with the white pieces started with 1 b3 b3, and I think many of you were thinking that why Adhiban played b3, why not something like d4 or e4, which is pretty standard. b3 move is his preparation, and he's also selling his course. You can check it out. So he played b3, and Anish replied with solid d5, knight to f3 by Adhiban. Here comes bishop to f5, bishop b2, e6. Here we have d3, h6 by Anish Giri. I think he was afraid of knight h4, because then for now the knight cannot come to h4 because the queen is protecting, but some ideas there could be, because perhaps g3, knight h4 attacking the bishop. That's h6, a very safe move. Here comes knight to d2, and now we are in the Nimzovich-Larsen attack. Here comes knight to f6. Here we have g3 by Adhiban, preparing to play bishop g2 and castle. Here comes bishop to h7 by Anish Giri, a very weird move, but it's also a fine move because he's preventing some knight h4 ideas, and there could be some knight h4 ideas by bishop g2, castle, knight h4, and followed by f4. It's like playing King's Indian defense with the white pieces. So he played bishop h7, stopping all of that. So here comes bishop to g2 by Adhiban. Here we have bishop to e7. Here we have e4 by Adhiban, simply going for the center, trying to open the center. But Anish Giri ignores it and plays very solid castle. Here we have queen e2 by Adhiban, and keeping the options open that he can even short castle or he can even long castle. Here we have a5 by Anish Giri, preparing to attack on the long side, on the queen side, because if Adhiban chose to long castle, then he can attack much more faster because he has already pushed a5. Here comes a3, here comes a4, and here comes b4, blocking up the position. Here Anish Giri pushed the a4 to trying to open up the position, but Adhiban simply shutters the move and simply plays b4, blocking up the position. Here we have c5 by Anish Giri, trying to open up the position at any cost. Adhiban is fixed. He is not going to open up the position. He played b5. Here we have c4 by Anish Giri. Here we have d into c4, and by playing d into c4, now the e4 pawn is weak. So Anish Giri captured the e4 pawn with the knight. Here we have castle, knight to d7, rook to d1. At the place of rook to d1, a better move could be to play c into d5, because after e into d5, knight into e4, bishop into e4, and this is an equal position and a fine position. But after knight d7, rook to d1 was played, and this was an inaccuracy, and this gives a black an edge, because now comes bishop to f6, and we can say white only hoped for the bishop on b2. It was a very nice piece on b2, but by playing bishop f6, which was a nice move by Anish, yeah, black and white is having not so many options. Here comes knight into e4 by Adhiban, grabbing up the knight, and at the place of capturing up the knight, Anish decided to capture up the bishop on b2, and now black bishop on b2 is very nice. So here comes c into d5, capturing up the pawn, e into d5, capturing up the pawn and also attacking the knight on e4. Here we have simply rook into d5, grabbing a pawn, and now the rook is also active on d5 and the knight is even pinned, and queen can also be threatened in the future. So here we have queen to e7, a very solid move by Anish Giri, but a better move could be to play queen to c7. The idea of playing queen to c7 here in this position, here black wants to capture the knight on e4, and after queen into e4, knight to f6 is a very dangerous threat, attacking the rook as well as the queen. So, but he played queen e7, so here comes knight to d2, because the queen and the bishop was attacking the knight on e4. Here comes simply bishop into a3. Here we have knight to c4, developing the piece and also putting the pressure on the bishop on a3. Here we have bishop b4, c3 by Adhiban, bishop to a5, and here b6. The idea of playing b6 here, we can definitely see that the bishop on a5 is not feeling well. The bishop on a5 is not having much square to go. He can't even capture the pawn. He can capture, but there could be some ideas. And the bishop cannot capture the pawn because knight is protecting it. The bishop cannot come to b4. The bishop on a5 is not having so much space. So here comes b6, a nice move by Adhiban. And after b6, here comes a move by Anish Giri, which was played f5. And f5 was not at all a good move. It was even a blunder. A much better move in this position was to simply capture up the knight on e4, because after bishop into e4, here comes rook f to e8, creating double attack on the bishop on e4. So here comes queen to d3, saying okay, you can grab it. So here black grabs the bishop. Here comes rook into d7, grabbing up the knight, queen into d3, rook into d3, and in this position it's an equal position with an equal material, and it's a nice position for both the players. But after b6, here Anish Giri played f5, thinking that where will this knight go? Yeah, because knight f6 can not even possible because queen will capture it. And yeah, basically the idea of playing f5 of Anish Giri was that knight can't move because the queen is hanging on e2. But after f5, now comes a very powerful move by white. In the game, knight to f6 check was played, but at the place of knight to f6 check, there was a very powerful move, which is rook into d7, capturing up the knight on d7. Because after queen into d7, queen has to capture the knight because black is not having much to do. Here comes knight to c5, a very powerful move by white, attacking the queen on d7 as well as the pawn on b7 with the knight as well as the bishop. So queen have to move somewhere like f7, and after bishop into b7, we can see that the bishop is now attacking the rook on a8, and the knight on c4 is also attacking the bishop on a5. So basically the rook on 8 is not having much to do. He have to move. He can't stay on the a5 because the bishop is attacking and all the squares are covered, and now it's completely winning position for white. But after f5, Adhiban missed this move and he played knight to f6, which equalizes the position. Here comes queen into f6, rook into d7, queen into c3. A big blunder, a terrible blunder made by Anish Giri. In this position, I know that it's a human reaction because the bishop on a5 was definitely not feeling well. That's why he decided to capture up the pawn and trying to open up his bishop, but it was not a good move. In this position, black can play king to h8, which was a fine move, because after something like knight into a5, rook into a5, rook into b7 and f4, and f4 is very nice move by black, although white is a pawn up, the b6 pawn is definitely very strong, but by playing f4, black can regain the counter and just even slightly better for white, and it's definitely playable for both the sides. But After rook into d7, Anish Giri decided to grab the pawn on c3, which was a blunder. And now comes a nice move, bishop into b7, capturing up the pawn, attacking the rook on a8 also. So rook have to move from the a8 square. Here comes rook a to b8, and now comes knight into a5, grabbing up the bishop, queen into a5, queen have to capture the knight, and here we have a fantastic move, bishop to d5 check. King have to move to h8. Here we have queen to e5 by Adhiban, and it's a very nice move. The idea of playing queen e5 is well known. Now white is threatening to checkmate black king on g7. So the only move for black to stop the checkmate is to play rook g8, sacrifice his rook, because then the rook will take and it's a normal position. But at the place of capturing up the rook, here white the rook to c1. Oh, I like this move very much. Keeping the tension, here the rook cannot move, because if he'll move, there is a checkmate on g7. So here comes queen to b6, capturing up the pawn. Here comes bishop into g8, now capturing up the rook. After rook into g8, now come rook to c7. Rook just swings to c7, and now we can clearly see that Adhiban's pieces are very strong, creating a terrible pressure on the g7. So here comes a very natural move by Anish Giri, pushing the pawn to f4, trying to regain some counterplay. But now it's forced checkmate in 8 moves. Here comes a nice move by Adhiban, simply capturing up the pawn on g7, which looks the most natural move, and it's the right move. And the idea of rook into g7 here is there are many types of checkmate can possible. Here first of all, rook into h7 is checkmate. The rook is protecting, the king is having nowhere to go, and the queen is also threatening to checkmate the king on h8. And even white can even capture the rook on g8, because after king into g8, queen to g7 is a checkmate. So in this position, Anish Giri tried to play queen to b1 check, king to g2, and now comes a very nice move by Anish Giri, trying his best to play continuous position. But Adhiban is smart. He didn't decide to capture the pawn, and he simply moved the king to h3. If we decide to capture the pawn, here comes a very nice move by Anish Giri, which he prepared, which is queen to e4 check. Because after queen into e4, bishop into e4, king into e4, although after rook into g7, king into g7, although it's a winning position for white, but black can try to play this position. But king h3 was played by Adhiban, saying, okay, I'm not going to give you a single counter play, I'm going to play normal chess. So here comes queen to f5 check, which looks the most natural move. Here the queen cannot grab the queen, because now it's black who is winning. Because after bishop into f5 check, king h4, rook into g7, rook into g7, king into g7, and it's completely winning position for black. He's a piece, plus there's a queen being made on a1. That's why after queen to f5 check, queen cannot get traded. And now come a very nice move by Adhiban. So feel free to pause the video and try to find the move which Adhiban played. So okay, so all those who have found the right move, here there are two right move for white. In the game, g4 was played, which looks the most natural move, and it also looks very interesting. Even king h4 is also winning, but g4 was played in the game, which is also winning. And after g4, in this position, after move number 35, Anish Giri with the black pieces resigned the game, and Adhiban, for the first time in his life, beat Anish Giri with the white pieces by playing 1b3. Because in Twitter he challenged Anish Giri that when they would come, when he will beat Anish Giri with the white pieces by playing 1b3, and that day came on Anish Giri's birthday. It's just like Adhiban's present to Anish Giri on his birthday. I don't know that Anish Giri liked this present or not, but it was very interesting. So guys, if you also like this game, then you can like the video. If you are new to my channel, then you can subscribe to my channel. You can share this video with your friends and family members, and even with your Anish Giri. So thank you for watching, and bye bye. Sorry. Before leaving, I need to explain you this position. So after playing g4, here black can't do actually much. Black cannot do anything. It's force mate in 3, because here if black will try to capture the queen on e5, then simply rook into h7 is a pretty mate. The king cannot grab the rook, and it's a completely checkmate. So yeah, if you even try, here the best move for black according to engineers to play queen h5 check, and after queen into h5, here comes rook into g7, and here comes queen to e5, and it's a force mate on g7. So something like a3 and queen into g7 is a checkmate. So this is what. So that's why after g4 in this position, Anish Giri resigned the game. So thank you.